Ponyfans.com here with left tackle Kelvin Beachum Jr. And Kelvin, with the graduation of Mitch Enright, you and Bryce Tennyson sort of become the elder statesmen, the most experienced guys on the line in terms of career starts and how much playing time you've had. What responsibilities come with that, being the more experienced leaders of the line?
Not being satisfied with what we've done in the past. One thing Mitch always harped about was maintaining technique, maintaining leverage, always doing the little bitty things right on a consistent basis. So when game time comes and your body wears down and you start to get tired, those same technique principles that we talked about, those same all the muscle memory stuff that we do, it still remain the same. So just being able to do that on a consistent basis and being consistent throughout the season is one thing that we have to pick up from where Mitch left off.
Coaches and players both talk about how within the offensive line, a real key to your success is going to be the continuity, being used to the guy next to you. And there's been a little bit of a shuffle since last year. Now you've got Bryce on your right hip at guard. How different is it having him there, and how hard is it to make that transition from one player to another next to you?
Well, it's really not that hard because me and Bryce were roommates when we first came in, so we have that brotherly harmony between us two. So that's not gonna be too much of a difference. But transitioning from Josh to Bryce is a big transition because you have to realize Josh is a very quiet guy. We take care of our business, go back to the huddle. Where Bryce is a more animated, more trash talking type of person where he does a lot of trash talking and then comes back to the huddle. So just that type of thing would be different. But other than that, I mean, we'd be all right.
That could help you, though, couldn't it? If the team gets worked up, worried about Bryce talking?
Well, so that's the thing. I talk, to a certain extent. I talk later into the game once I caught that second or third win. And, in the first quarter, I ain't going to say nothing. I got to get into the floor of the game. But after that, I go in and, I go in and do my little magic as I go.
Now, when you got here 3 years ago, you were undersized. You were 240-something. Now Coach Delora and Coach Clem talk about how you're getting up to around 300. Does that change the way you block? Are you becoming more of a power blocker and relying less on your quickness?
Well, during fall camp, I felt myself starting to rely on the strength and the strength and power that I gained in the offseason. But one thing I have to realize and one thing I have to maintain is that you can't have one without the other. You have to have technique and you have to have power and quickness and explosion. So, something I really work on and I really harp on myself on a daily basis is to use both. Try to use both consistently. Try to be technique sound every single play. Try to be aggressive every single play. So just work and intertwine those two together to make sure I'm doing it exactly like I need to do.
For several years now, Texas Tech has always had an enormous offensive line, and they talk about overpowering and dominating their opponents. You're now on a line that's made up of all juniors. You guys are bigger and stronger than you've been in the past. Are you getting to the point where this year your line can do that same kind of thing, literally, as Coach Clem likes to say, impose your will on a defense?
Yes, we can. We're getting to that point. I think we've made it to that point, and we just, we're playing that aggressive for a long period of time. You have to be in tip-top shape, and you have to stay healthy throughout the year for there to be complete domination. That's what we call it, complete domination throughout the game, leaving no doubt on every single play that you impose your will. So as an offensive unit, as an offensive line unit, we've had to maintain our shape and maintain staying healthy to be able to play and to be able to dominate the whole game.
Now with the new coaching staff coming into Lubbock, Texas Tech is switching from 4-2 base defense to a 3-4 base, which usually means really big defensive ends. But you go against a couple of the biggest defensive ends you're going to see in Margus Hunt, Taylor Thompson. How does that prepare you? How much does that help you as you get ready to see the 3-4 out in Lubbock?
Myself, with going against Margus every day, 6'7", 6'8", his arms are almost, a foot. Well, I don't know. His arms are much longer than mine. You got to realize he's a world-class athlete, so he's cock strong. So facing somebody of that caliber, every single day is going to make that game so much easier. You know what I'm saying? Just like, June talks about a lot. He's going to put us in positions in practice that's going to make the game so much easier. And that's one thing that, I don't know if he planned on Marcus coming and playing, but that's preparing us, for the game.
And when he joined the team a year ago, Margus was understandably lost. He'd been a track athlete all his life. Is it possible to put into words just how far that guy has come in a year from not playing at all to now probably starting?
He's come a very long ways, but that's an attribute to how he was raised and where he's from, and the morals that are instilled in him. Is, to work hard at, that's something that he likes. I mean, he's starting to like football. I mean, when he first got here, they asked me to start working with him, just an offensive player working on a defensive player, and he's gotten better ever since then. I mean, when I first started, I kind of didn't block him like I would, but as time progressed, I mean, we've made each other better. So, that's a beast, and he's going against our conference tackle. I mean, all it is making both of us better.
Coaches talk about the center being basically the quarterback of the offensive line. How is this offensive line different with Blake McJunkin in the middle?
Well, you have to realize, Mitch was a academic All-American, graduated, 2 years into being here at SMU. So, I mean, just his intelligence level, not saying we dumb, but his intelligence level was so much higher than ours. I'm not trying to just put him on a pedestal, but I mean just the way he thought, his thought process, and the quickness in which he thought of things made it so much easier. But with Blake, I mean, he's growing up, he's maturing. He's matured a lot since his freshman year, because if you realize, Blake started that Tech game, 2 years ago. So he's matured, just like Mark has made tremendous gains, Blake has made tremendous gains.
And then you got a couple of you got some young guys behind you. I mean, obviously the whole offensive line wants to stay healthy, but at times you do end up rotating some people in there to give you a break. Give me an impression of some of the young guys who will be backing up the starting five.
Brian Collins, he started off last year, right tackle. I mean, during scout team, if you look, he goes from one side of the line to the other side of the line. Gottschalk could do the same thing. So we have those backups are universal, where if anybody goes down, it's not going to be too much of a step down with that backup in. So it really helps us as ones to know that we have somebody from behind us that could really carry the load if anything were ever to happen to us.
When you think about the adjustment you made coming out of high school to playing tackle in college, and then look at those guys, how hard is it to come into college and be able to play tackle and guard and pick up the new scheme at multiple positions that, like you said, Brian and Ben have been able to do this fall?
To tell you the truth, I wish I would have been able to do that. I wish June was here when I got here to see how it felt, going from transitioning from high school to this type of offense. But even as a redshirt freshman, it was somewhat difficult to pick up. And I know as a true freshman coming in and trying to pick it up, it has to be a real toll on your mind and also your body. Because this offense, although it's very simple, it's mentally draining and it's a lot of repetition. So you really have to be, how would I put it? You really have to be mentally prepared every single day to do the task at hand.
You've been out here in the heat for a couple of weeks now, beating on your teammates. How eager are you to get out to Lubbock and see someone in a different uniform?
Ready. I'm really ready. I mean, that's probably. I mean, I've been acting kind of militant lately because I'm just ready to play. I mean, that's the bottom line. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to we got all the protocol out the way. We got all the luncheon out the way. We got all the booster talks and stuff out the way. It's time to get down to business and get down and dirty.